Good morning. This is September 26, 2023, and we are in BBA first semester, section A class, and this is period for English. And let's begin by reminding ourselves what we were doing in class yesterday. This has two purposes. One, I want to check whether you read things at home. I want to check if you are aware. And these days I'm teaching you quite slowly, I understand. Why I'm doing? Because I want to teach you one lesson this way and demonstrate you how we read. And from next chapter, I will try to give you more responsibilities in the classroom. Okay. So can someone tell me, we read, yesterday we read paragraph 1, then we read paragraph 2, then we read paragraph 3, then we read paragraph 4, and we wrote the thesis statement over there. Let's again begin from there, because I want to focus on that. Let me write here. From culture to culture, I'll break the lines. From group to group, within a single country, even between the sexes. Then he says, the language of space has distinct accents, confusing umlauts, and the word umlaut, I haven't checked the pronunciation, but I pronounce it as umlaut. What it means? Change in a vowel sound, often indicated by the symbol. Suppose if I say "a" and give a dot, and if I write "a" without a dot, so this is the transcription. Now the way you pronounce this vowel is different than this one, and I don't have good knowledge about this thing. I'm sorry for that. I don't have good knowledge. You can Google and check what it means exactly and tell me tomorrow. The point here is, this essay has the topic of the language of space. And what it is saying is that language of space has distinct accent. What is accent? Accent is the way you pronounce words in a language. मेरो नेपाली गजबकै छ, म राम्रै बोल्छु, बच्चैबाट सिक्या हो, त्यो भएर म नेपाली बोलेँ भने कसैले पनि मलाई चाहिँ अब म नेपाली होइन, म बाहिरी मान्छे भनेर शङ्का गर्न सक्दैन। तो हिंदी भी बड़ी अच्छी है। जब पैदा हुआ तो पैदा होने के बाद सबसे पहले मैंने भोजपुरी सुनी, तो हमरा के बढ़िया से भोजपुरी आ गई। काहे कि हम जब स्कूल जात रहली या खेले जात रहली तो सब लोग हमारे जो चारों रहल सब भोजपुरी आदमी रहल, तो वो भोजपुरी बोलत रहल, तो हमरा के सुन के भोजपुरी आ गई। इतना बढ़िया भोजपुरी आ गई ना कि रउआ से जब हम भोजपुरी बोलब तो रउआ के लगी कि हम तो कहाँ देहात से बाणी, भोजपुरी से कहाँ इंडिया से बाणी, रउआ ना सोचब कि हम नेपाल से बाणी। तो हिंदी भी आ गई। स्कूल में गए तो बच्चे जो हमारे गुरुजी लोग थे सब लोग हिंदी बोलते थे, किताबें हिंदी में थी, तो बचपन से जब हिंदी बोलना शुरू किया तो ऐसा लगा कि जब मैं बिल्कुल प्राकृतिक तवर से हिंदी बोल रहा हूँ. नेपाली पनि आउँछ, घरमा चाहिँ बुवामा नेपाली बोल्ने, मसँग नेपाली बोल्ने, नेपाली बोल्ने, नेपाली पनि बोल्ने. I can speak English as well. अहम संस्कृतमपि वदामि क्वचित् क्वचित्. I know little Sanskrit as well. What I did, I demonstrated you the pronunciation in multiple languages. And accent means the difference in different people pronounce words. Accent is about pronunciation. Accent is about, and an Australian says, I came here to die. T-O-D-A-Y. The Australian says, I came here to die. T-O-D-A-Y. The Briton will say, I came here today. See the accentual difference. What is trying to say? Just as no two people pronounce words same way, no two people use space same way. Yes, I'm coming to you. You're saying something. I'm not free. Confusing umlauts. U-M-L-A-U-T-S. And umlaut is a change, slight variation in the way you pronounce a vowel sound. Meaning is, so minor difference in way people use that you can't easily understand. The way people use space is so varied, so different, even inside a family, neighborhood, that it's very difficult to understand clearly how other people are using space. That's why there may be misunderstanding. That's the point. So two things. Look here. He is comparing non-verbal language with verbal language. And he says that thus, just as in verbal language, there are slight variations in the way people pronounce. So slight that it's difficult to diagnose, identify, recognize. In the same way, the way people use also varies from one culture to culture, from group to group within a single country, even between sexes. So now you will see that this is in paragraph 4. And we analyze the thesis statement. And I said, the thesis statement is the root from where the essay tree emerges. The thesis statement is the root from where the essay tree emerges. In a sense, if you picturize, let's draw like this. Now these are paragraphs. So from culture to culture, then from group to group, then even between sexes. The central idea. Now these three ideas in the thesis statement will be supported with the details in paragraphs. Now you come to paragraph 5, for example, and draw a tree diagram. And look what happens in paragraph 5, quickly. So in paragraph 5, he gives an example of an Arabian. Then he gives an example of American. And what happens? The Arabian comes close. The American maintains distance. And then he says that the problem, what is the effect? They may lose business contracts. So this paragraph 5 is supporting this idea. Culture to culture. This paragraph 5, the details in paragraph 5, they are supporting this idea that from culture to culture, the space of language has distinct accent and confusing umlaut. So you will see that every paragraph is developing this idea. Paragraph 6, let's read paragraph 6. Still, her clients had better be careful where they take their shrunken space bubbles. Here we have a metaphor. Here we have a metaphor. Shrunken space bubbles. You have bubbles in soap and detergent when you wash clothes. And the characteristics of bubble is that they are so sensitive, the moment you touch, they break. So the point here is, the issue of space is so sensitive. If you undesirably touch someone, it may bring disaster. It may bring disaster. If you touch her, for example, she may feel badly offended. She may sue you in the court or police station, for example. You may end up in lockup. It's very sensitive. Space is very sensitive. That's the point. So look the metaphor. What is she doing? She is comparing the sensitivity of space with the sensitivity of soap bubble. Just as if you touch soap bubble, it breaks. If you touch her without her desire, she breaks. Either she will cry or she will shout at you. Either she will cry or shout at you because it hurts her if you touch her without her agreement, consent. Look, because cultures are idiosyncratic in their special needs. I've been telling you, let's paragraph 6 here. So whenever you come to paragraph, always look for main idea and separate details. The purpose of reading a paragraph is scanning main idea and details. And if you find main idea, always highlight main idea. Don't highlight details. Don't highlight details. Always highlight or underline or circle main idea. If you want to mark details also, use some other method. But make sure when you finish reading, your book should have a lot of highlighting and underlining and circling. This student, this book was given to be donated by a student. And it has almost no commentary, so I feel like he never read the essay. Either he never read the essay, or he was such a business-minded, he knew he would sell the book, so he didn't dogmark the book. Right? Okay. Still, our clients had better be careful where they take their shrunken space bubble, because cultures are idiosyncratic in their special need. Japanese subways bring people about as close together as humanly possible, for instance. Yet even a handshake can be offensively physical in a Japanese office. What does idiosyncratic mean? Someone tell me. What does idiosyncratic mean? Someone tell me the meaning of the word idiosyncratic quickly. Check your mobile. Quickly. Take your mobile and check your dictionaries. Take a mobile phone out. Quickly, within seconds. Hello. Quickly check the word idiosyncratic in a dictionary and tell me the meaning.
Particular to a specific individual.
Okay, particular. Peculiar. Read.
To a specific individual.
Okay, so look. Idiosyncratic means peculiar. Am I spelling correctly? Is my spelling okay? Okay, thank you. Particular, distinct. So the first sentence says, cultures are idiosyncratic in their spatial needs. What does it mean? Every culture uses space in a peculiar way, unlike any other culture. No two cultures use space the same way. No two cultures use space the same way. What does the sentence mean? Cultures are unique in their space use. Cultures are unique in their space use. Read ahead. Now can somebody tell me? Oh, I'll ask later. Or tell me, where is the main idea in this paragraph? Okay, Japanese subways bring people about as close together as humanly possible. For instance, look, if a sentence uses for instance, it is never main idea. If a sentence uses the word for example, it's not main idea, it's an example. And examples always come to support the main idea. See the technique. These things will be so useful when you take up IELTS exam in future, TOEFL exam in future, SAT, GMAT, GRE, because they demand high reading skill. So if a sentence has for instance, it is an example. And examples always come as supporting detail, not main idea. Someone tell me, what is the main idea in this paragraph? Someone tell me which sentence, point a sentence that you think has main idea. Yet even a handshake can be offensively physical in Japanese office, and says researcher and writer Mildred Reed Hall. Americans can even make their business counterparts in Japan uncomfortable with a kind of direct eye contact that is normal here. Not only do most Japanese businessmen not look at you, they keep their eyes down. Hall says, we look at people for hours and they feel like they are under searchlight. What I see that, hello students, you are not able to scan the main idea. You are not able to scan the, no problem, because you are not trained in reading. Let me give you some ideas. When you read, which idea is supported by many other ideas in the paragraph? Put this question. A paragraph contains all ideas. Everything is an idea. Everything is an idea. Every sentence has an idea. But the point is, one idea is being supported by many other ideas. Those many other ideas are not the main idea. The only idea that is being supported by others is the main idea. So can someone tell me which idea in paragraph 6 is being supported? Let me give you one more hint. Normally, not always, writers always place main ideas in the opening sentence. Normally, but not always, writers place main ideas in the opening sentence. Often a paragraph begins with the main idea. Then rest of the paragraph supports the idea. If that is not the case, a paragraph may end with the main idea. A paragraph may end with the main idea. And in that case, look for a sentence that begins with therefore. Look for a sentence that begins with so. Look for a sentence that begins with hen. Look for a sentence that begins with to sum up. Look for a sentence that begins with to conclude. Look for a sentence that begins with in this way. Because these expressions bring the conclusion. And the conclusion most probably will be the main idea. Third possibility, in rare case, particularly with expert writers writing on difficult topics, serious issues, what they do, they bring details first, then they sandwich the main idea and end up with details. We call this the sandwich structure. We call this the sandwich, and this is a difficult one to identify. Such paragraphs need a lot of practice to identify them. There is a fourth possibility, very rare. No sentence clearly, explicitly, directly states main idea, but you have got to understand all the sentences and you have to infer the main idea. You have to infer. What word did I say? Infer. There is a word called inference. What is the word? Inference. I-N-F-E-R-E-N-C-E. What do you mean by inference? What is inference? What is inference? I'm so sad to see that you must know these things by the time you come to grade 11, 12, right? What is inference? Inference is making a wise guess about some situation by observing the given things. Inference is, for example, make an inference. Look at this teacher. Look his dress. Look this microphone. Look this recorder. Look the tripod, camera, laptop, everything. And make an inference about this teacher's view about teaching. Make a guess about this teacher's opinion about teaching. Can you make any guess? Say something about Divakar sir's interest in teaching. Make a comment about Divakar sir as a teacher, and your comment should be based on your inference of these technologies. What can you say? Yeah? Okay, so she said that this teacher is a modern teacher. I just modified your sentence. This teacher is a modern teacher. What makes you think so? You looked at the things in the class and you made an inference. And please, inference is fundamental quality that you should develop if you want to be successful in life tomorrow. You will be HR managers having 50 people under you, and you will be observing their behavior, and you will have to infer what they might do and take decisions before they do it. Inference is wise guessing. What is inference? Do you read detective stories by Sherlock Holmes? No, you just browse through your mobile screen, right? I don't know. Sorry. If you read detective stories, for example, of Sherlock Holmes, you will see the idea of inference. Somebody's murder has taken place. Did you watch CID on television, Indian channel? CID? If you watch CID, you will know what is inference. An incident takes place, policemen arrive, they have no clue, and they start inferring. Did this happen like this? Did it happen like that? And how do they proceed? They make a wise guess. They verify with evidences. If evidence is backing up a guess, they move ahead. If the evidence doesn't back up the guess, they move back. So I was saying, inference is, look, I said, the main idea can be in the opening or at the end or in the middle, or the main idea can be nowhere directly, and in that case, you have to infer. Good readers make good inferences. Reading is a strategy. Reading is a strategy. expert readers know the strategy how to read. Okay. So can somebody tell me now which sentence, pick up a sentence and tell me which sentence in paragraph 6 do you think expresses main idea of the paragraph? Okay, somebody got it. So main idea is, in para 6, main idea is cultures are idiosyncratic in their use of space. Now, how do we know if this is the main idea? Now ask a question. Do other sentences support the idea in the paragraph? If yes, this must be the main sentence. For example, look here. Second sentence. Japanese subways bring people about as close together as humanly possible. For instance, yet even a handshake can be offensively physical in a Japanese office. See the example. Japanese culture is unique, idiosyncratic, because in the subway, you can push people, nobody minds. In the office, you must not touch others. Now, see, this is an example to support the idea that some cultures are unique. Here is Japanese culture. That is, what is unique about Japanese culture? The unique thing about Japanese culture is that in the subway, you can come as close as possible, but with the same guy or girl, if in the office, you cannot touch them. How they use space differs from situation to situation, context to context. This is what makes Japanese culture unique. So this sentence is supporting that idea. Now next sentence. And says researcher and writer Mildred Reed Hall, Americans can even make their business counterparts in Japan uncomfortable with the kind of direct eye contact that's normal here. The next sentence says that Americans gaze into the eyes of their counterparts. Japanese people do not like being gazed. If an American goes to Japan and sits for business dealing and gazes continuously in the eyes of the Japanese people, they'll feel bad and they might lose the business. Look, she felt uncomfortable. So this sentence is also giving example that American culture is unique. They can have a lingering gaze. Japanese culture is again unique. They don't like lingering. Example. Next sentence. Let's check it. Okay. Not only do most Japanese businessmen not look at you, they keep their eyes down. Hall says, we look at people for hours and they feel like they are under a searchlight. So paragraph 6 talks about Japanese culture and compares Japanese culture with American culture and says within Japanese culture, in the subway, they don't mind being touched, but at home, they mind being touched. So what do you see here? From group to group within a single country, how people use space is distinct. And this is the support. Within a single country, which country? Japan. From group to group, what group? Groups at the subway and groups in the office. They use space distinctly. And that is compared with American. So do you see? Paragraph 6 is also supporting the second idea in your thesis statement. And I was telling that the thesis statement functions like the root of a tree. All the ideas come from that thesis. Nothing in your essay should go against the thesis statement. Nothing in your essay should go against the thesis statement. If you contradict your thesis statement, your essay fails. Let's see paragraph 7. Now, one more question. In paragraph 6, you see a feature of academic writing. Can someone tell me what is that feature? What is the feature? I've explained it. Paragraph 6 gives an example of a characteristic of academic writing. What is that? I said, if you remember, in academic writing, you say something, then you quote other people to support what you are saying. To support what you are saying. Do you quote resources in social media commentary? No, you don't need to. But this is academic essay to be read by students at Kathmandu University, scholarly people. So they need evidences. So Lisa Davis is writing seriously. She not only says something, she brings evidence to convince you. How? Whom is she quoting? Whom is she quoting? Whom is she quoting? Whom is Lisa Davis quoting here? Mildred Reed Hall. Who is she? She is the wife of Edward Hall. Who is Edward Hall? I have no idea. Edward Hall is an anthropologist. Who is an anthropologist? A scientist who has expertise on the development of human life and society. Paragraph 7. The study of personal space got underway in the early 1950s when anthropologist Edward Hall described a sort of cultural continuum of personal space. Hall has frequently collaborated with his wife Mildred Hall. According to Hall, on the high contact side of continuum in Mediterranean and South American societies, for instance, social conversations include much eye contact, touching and smiling, typically while standing at a distance of about a foot. On the other end of the scale, say in Northern European cultures, the lingering gaze may feel invasive, manipulative, or disrespectful. A social chat takes place at a remove of about 2.5 feet. So I said every paragraph presents an idea, right? So quickly, someone tell me what may be the idea that is seen in paragraph 7. What idea does paragraph 7 talk about? Main idea. What is the main idea? Personal space. Okay. No problem, you need to learn. Quickly read and ask a question. Which concept is being discussed in the paragraph? Paragraph 7 discusses some concept. What is the concept? Eye contact is an example, not the concept. Paragraph 7 discusses some concept. Which concept? Read quickly. Which concept does the paragraph discuss? The study of personal space got underway in the early 1950s when anthropologist Edward Hall described a sort of cultural continuum of personal space. That's example. I told you, always look for the opening sentence or the last sentence or in the middle. 90% of the times you will find main idea or main concept of the paragraph in the first sentence. So read the first sentence. The study of personal space got underway in the early 1950s when anthropologist Edward Hall described a sort of cultural continuum of personal space. That's the idea. This paragraph talks about cultural continuum of personal space. I have beautifully explained this concept in my videos. Did someone watch? No one. Why would you watch? You have no time from your mobile phone and all that other things. I've explained this thing in my video that I made for you. Did anyone watch? Can someone tell me what is the concept of cultural continuum of personal space? What is that? I get disappointed when I see that you don't go through my instruction, you don't follow my instruction. I placed videos and I said go through them. They will make you understand. And I see that you didn't go through the videos and you are blank in class now. Okay, no problem. No problem. Why should you watch videos? You should listen to me. Okay. Draw a line. And my line is going continuously, non-stop, without a break here. Continuum means something that continues without a break. If I break here, if I break line here, I mean this part is completely different from this part. That's why it has no connection. It has no connection. But if I connect it a single line, now it means, suppose here I write high contact cultures. Here I write low contact cultures, and here I write middle zone. And then what I do, let me note down. Then, okay, here I place Mediterranean societies, and here I place Northern European cultures, and here I place American cultures. In a continuum, two entities which stand nearby are very similar. Continuum means if two things are close by, they won't be very different. But if an entity is here and another entity is down there, then the two will be quite different. There will be little difference in the Nevars of Kirtipur and Bhaktapur, let's say. But you will see a big difference between the Nevars of Bhaktapur and Lamjung. Maybe the Nevars in Lamjung can't speak Nevari, but the Nevars in Bhaktapur speak Nevari. So you can say, when you compare Kirtipur Nevars with Bhaktapur Nevar, it's a continuum. They are very close. And there is not much difference. But if you compare a Kirtipur Nevar with a Lamjungi Nevar, the distance is larger and there is a difference. Continuum means when two cultures are geographically close by side, like India and Nepal, the cultural difference is not much. Look, Indian culture and Nepali culture doesn't have much difference. But if you go to Pakistan, now distance increases, and you will see Nepalese culture and Pakistani culture is very different. Pakistanis eat beef, many Nepalese don't eat beef, for example. So what is continuum? Continuum means if two things stand side by side, most probably they will be similar. But if two things stand at a larger distance, the two will be different. And cultural continuum means the cultures around the world also have similarities. The cultures around the world also have similarities, and they also have what? Differences. If you talk about two cultures close by, they will have similarities. But if you talk about cultures far away, they will have differences. As she gives example. What example she gives? Look here the example. She uses a phrase, he, high contact cultures. For example, the Arabians are high contact cultures. What does it mean? In high contact cultures, they stay close. For example, they may be, let's say, 1.6 feet distance when they talk. They have much eye contact when they talk. They smile a lot when they talk. They touch each other a lot when they talk. They make a lot of body gestures when they talk. An Arab smiles a lot, has eye contact, speaks loudly, might touch you, may come so close to you, he will spit on your face, or may come so close you can smell his breath. Now, if this Arab, for example, comes to, let's say, Estonia in Russia. Estonia is a republic in Russia. If this Arab comes to Estonia, Estonians are highly low contact culture people. Now, Estonians, they never touch you. They won't smile much and have eye contact with you when they talk to you. If the Arab comes to the Estonian and they sit together on a table talk, then the Arab will try to come closer and the Estonians won't like this thing and their communication will fail. Because the Arab comes closer, because Arabs think that there is no privacy with friends, the Estonians maintain a physical distance. They never want to be touched by anybody. So low contact, high contact. If you compare two ends, they are different. But if you don't compare two ends, and if you compare two close by points, the cultures may be similar. So whether two cultures are similar or different depends on their proximity. If they have close proximity, if two cultures have close proximity, they will be similar. If the two cultures have distance, they will be different. Is that clear to you? And this idea is named as what? Cultural continuum of personal space. So Nepalese people and Indians might be using space very similar. But Nepalese people and Pakistanis might not use similar. Nepalese and Afghanistan more difference. Nepalese and Croatians more difference. The farther you go, the more differences you may have. The closer you come, the more similarities you may have. I'm so sad you didn't watch the videos, you came to class with a blank mind. You have no idea, right? If I place a video for you, I spend time at home. I make for you. Why do I make it? There is something called flipped pedagogy. F-L-I-P-P-E-D. Flipped pedagogy. What is flipped pedagogy? In flipped pedagogy principle, a teacher prepares support material on the topic and gives students before the class. And students go through the support material, and when they come to class, they are prepared on the topic. So when I upload a video for you and say watch it, watch it. In that case, if you watch, you will have better idea in my class. Otherwise, I put questions and you give no answers. I said, what is cultural continuum? You have no idea. You have no idea. Okay. Did I take attendance today? No. Not yet. Okay. So we explain paragraph 7. Let's read it quickly, paragraph 8. In the middle of the road, United States, look here. United States usually stand about 18 inches apart for this sort of conversation, unless we want to win foreign friends and influence people, in which case research shows we had better adjust our posture. Look, in paragraph 8, Lisa Davis offers a solution to the problem. Look, her sentence. We had better adjust our posture. We means Americans. Because Lisa Davis herself is American. And she says that When we Americans are going to Saudi Arabia, or when we Americans are going to other cultures, we must change our body language and posture. We had better adjust our posture. In one study, when British graduate, now example, significant example. In one study, when British graduate students were trained to adopt Arab patterns of behavior. What are these behaviors? Facing their partner straight on. Arab people, when they talk to you, they look right into your face. Japanese, they look down. Americans, look into eyes. With lots of eye contact and smiling. Here if you smile, has mat pagli pyar ho jayega. Oh God, how foolish thing they write on at the back of the buses, right? If you are a young girl and you are dealing with business on counterpart, there's a boy, you smile, he thinks, oh, you are in love. What a foolish notion. You may smile at 10 people every day. Do you fall in love with 10 people every day? Right? So, has mat pagli pyar ho jayega is a wrong concept. Stereotype. This is South Asian stereotype. And stereotype is an idea that is not always true. Okay. Middle Eastern exchange students found them more likable and trustworthy than typical British students. In contrast, the misuse of space can call whole personalities into suspicion. When someone comes too close to you, you become alert. You become alert. When people misuse space, it instantly sends a signal to your brain. And you watch out. Oh, this guy must be weird. I was in a bus traveling by myself. There was a man. After traveling for 30 minutes, he all of a sudden puts his palm on my thighs. Oh God, I have goosebumps. How can a young man put his palm on my thighs? I began to think and came to a conclusion that this guy must be a gay. And then I stood and changed my seat. Look, when you misuse body language and space, people become alert, right? When researchers seated pairs of women for conversation, those forced to talk at an uncomfortably large distance were likely to describe their partners as cold and rejecting. When an Arab and a Briton was put at a large distance, the Arab said the British is cold and indifferent. When they were put closer, the Arab said they are good people. Because Arabic people, they like to stay close to their friends. If you go to Saudi Arabia and you are with your friends, and if you maintain a large distance, they will think you are cold and indifferent, you don't actually care about them. So we stop here. Please, if you find time and interest, go through the visuals. I've explained all 18 paragraphs there. And come to class with the knowledge, we can have quick discussion. So I will finish this essay this way, in detail. Next essay, I will not teach you. You will teach me. You will teach the class, the next. This one I'll teach you. So can I stop? Any questions you want to ask me? Thank you. Thank you.